Taking a look at tonight's winning numbers. Remember, there are multiple ways to win. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you back here on Saturday night.
Live from Augusta, breaking news.
Breaking news, a Columbia County deputy is in the hospital tonight after a car hit her patrol car. Authorities say Deputy Brittany Brown was giving someone who was in an accident a ride on Gordon Highway west of Lou Lane. They say she was entering the road when a Jeep hit the patrol car. Authorities say Columbia County Fire had to cut the door off the car to remove Deputy Brown and take her to the hospital, but we're working to learn more on how she's doing. A former Augusta University basketball player shot and killed just a day after Christmas in Washington, D.C. 27-year-old Tyvez Monroe was sitting at a bus stop when the suspect shot him. Our Nick Veland has the reaction here at home as the community remembers who he was on and off the court, Nick.
Yeah, Laura, he was a team player, choosing to play for each other over himself. Off the court, he was well-liked, and now those who knew him are mourning his life.
If you met Tyvez Monroe, you wouldn't forget him.
Because some players you do remember, a lot of players you don't. But I did remember Tyvez.
Even if you've covered thousands of athletes in your lifetime, like former News 12 director Kevin Feigl.
It kind of hits a little harder sometimes when you hear something like that, and very few people are like that when you cover so many ball players.
One day after Christmas, Monroe was shot and killed at the bus stop in D.C. Police released images of the exchange between Monroe and the suspect, Deontay Spicer. Investigators say that the two fist bumped and talked for a few minutes before Spicer pulled out an AR-15 rifle and fired shots at Monroe.
And I miss him so much, and it's so unfortunately that this happened to him.
Those closest to him held a memorial to honor his life. Locally, one way he'll be remembered is for scoring 1,000 points for AU's basketball team.
He was a good teammate. I mean, he was, as I said, he'd be the guy that would do anything and everything. You know, I mean, he wasn't afraid to get dirty. He wasn't afraid to have that floor burn. You know, he wasn't afraid to get under the basket and mix it up with somebody who might be 4 or 5 inches taller than him.
And having dreams of taking his talent on the court and making a career of it.
You could just see that glow on his face. I think he wanted to do something in the sports world, business end of it after college, whether it be broadcasting, whether it be radio, whether it be newspaper, whether it be behind the scenes of other things. So I think he always had that mindset.
Deontay Spicer was taken into custody and he was charged with first-degree murder. And D.C. police say that they are still working to find the motive in the shooting. And afterwards, in finding out about the news, head basketball coach Demetris said on X, "One of the most competitive players I've ever coached, gone far too soon. Once a Jaguar, always a Jaguar, and please keep his family in your prayers."
The circumstance is just so strange. We're all kind of waiting to hear more about that motive because at first you see a dog kind of run up to the scene. You see them fist bump. So a lot of questions in that.
Absolutely.
Taking a look outside over Grovetown. All right, thanks, Riley. The rules just went into effect at the first of the year to add new regulations for private swim lessons. It's part of Izzy's Law, named after Izzy Scott, who drowned during private lessons in Burke County. Izzy's instructor was arrested and charged, and this is not a photo of her. This is a photo of someone we talked to today, but there were 10 kids in the class, and at the time, Georgia did not have regulations about the ratio of students to teachers for private lessons. By April 1st, now every instructor is required to have a safety plan in place. There's also a 4-to-1 student-teacher ratio. The law also requires a secondary supervisor on hand and allows parents and guardians to attend those lessons. We spoke with a mom who says this law makes her feel at ease.
It's a huge step in the right direction. I mean, obviously, it's going to require a lot of vigilance on instructors' part and active parents and stuff, but this is one step closer to making sure that there are adequate requirements in place that will add that extra layer of safety for the kids.
One criticism of the law, though, it does not require instructors be certified by the state, and there are no real penalties for failing to have a safety plan in place. Fentanyl is Augusta's #1 killer for 30 to 50-year-olds. Last year, the coroner says 100 people died in Augusta from opioid overdoses, with another 85 pending confirmation. More than $7 million is going to the city to help. Mayor Garnett Johnson says the issue is the payments will be spread over 18 years. And right now, the city has nearly $700,000 of that from the settlements in the bank. Mayor Johnson is pushing to add vending machines with Narcan to save lives. But one doctor we spoke with says the real solution is long-term care.
I think the mayor's idea is a good idea, but it's only a Band-Aid. I mean, it will prevent some deaths, which is great. But the core is treatment and having the detox facilities.
Mayor Johnson says the soonest they can get something on the agenda to move forward is sometime after March. In South Carolina, a new law could change charges in homicide child abuse cases. The bill pre-filed by Senator Thomas Alexander would charge people with homicide by child abuse for any victim under 18. Right now, the law charges people with the crime if the victim is under 11. But Senator Alexander says 3 different solicitors brought up the issue with cases, saying the law makes it harder to get justice because they're dealing with victims in the 11 to 18 age gap.
We'd rather not have to be addressing this, but we're seeing that uptick in the number of these cases of abuse that meet this criteria. And we want to make sure that law enforcement and the solicitors have the appropriate tools in place to address that and hold those accountable for their actions.
This year's legislative session starts next week, and there's a nearly identical bill in the House right now, so leaders hope to see this change happen by the end of the session. The wait to learn who kept company with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is heating up. Emily Schmidt has more on what's hiding in pages of unsealed documents in the case.
More than 4 years after Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in jail, awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges, federal courts are giving a new window into his world. It's all happening because while Epstein's legal woes played out publicly, court documents redacted the names of some of his accusers and associates, calling them only John Doe or Jane Doe. Now the first 40 documents have been unsealed, making the names public. Ultimately, nearly 200 people could be named. It's unknown what all the documents contain. Some names were already revealed when Epstein's partner Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of sex trafficking in 2021, and appearing in these court documents doesn't necessarily imply wrongdoing. Epstein circulated within high-powered circles and was known to spend time with former Presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, as well as Microsoft founder Bill Gates, none of whom have been accused of wrongdoing related to their connections to Epstein. Britain's Prince Andrew was also a friend of Epstein's. Virginia Roberts Giuffre accused Andrew of forcing her to perform sex acts when she was a minor. The prince denied allegations and reached an undisclosed settlement with Giuffre in 2022. The unsealed documents also won't name everyone. Accusers who were under 18 when they allege wrongdoing will remain anonymous. The documents are expected to be released gradually over the next few days, revealing potential new information after years of mystery. I'm Emily Schmidt, reporting.
Next month, a special election will be held to fill Representative Barry Fleming's position. Fleming served as a state rep for District 125 in Columbia County since 2013, as well as from 2003 to 2009. He was just appointed to the Columbia Judicial Circuit position after Judge James Blanchard just announced his retirement. That election is going to be February 13th. A heads up, there will be several railroad crossings closed starting today in Augusta. The Traffic Engineering Division says railroad contractors are working on the ones at Lumpkin Road, Molly Pond Road, Louisville Road, Tobacco Road, Windsor Spring, and more. Those crossings will be closed down a few at a time. There will be detours in place. That work is expected to wrap up at the end of the month, so heads up, that could slow down your commute. As kids go back to school tomorrow, some of them got free haircuts, free food, and more today through the Augusta Partnership for Children's Cuts for Kids. Organizers say it also allows parents to get help through their program, which provides resources people may need.
There is a need for events like this in the community simply because parents can't always get out to the barbershops. Parents can't always afford haircuts or school supplies or anything like that. So whenever we do have anything free, it's very important.
And for more resources, you can head to the Augusta Partnership for Children's website. That is on wrdw.com. Okay, check this out. Multiple roses at the New Year's Day Rose Parade. We showed you a few last night, and one of those happens to be signed by the CEO of Aiken Regional Medical Center. One of the floats in the parade is the One Legacy, Donate Life, with more than 1,000 roses, raising awareness about organ donation. So he was able to sign one of those that was with the float on the day of the parade. Riley?
That is really cool. A little local tie there out in Pasadena for the big game, and a great game over this past Monday, actually. We did have a little bit of rain that is going to possibly impact a portion of your weekend. We'll have a look at that coming up in the full forecast next.
Plus, U.S. lawmakers take a trip to the southern A DUI suspect arrested after nearly hitting police officers in Cleveland, Ohio. It happened early New Year's Day when officers were responding to a car crash off the interstate. Police say the suspect hit 2 police cars and a car being loaded onto a tow truck. Neither of the officers or the tow truck driver were hit miraculously, but the driver is facing a DUI and a weapons charge. Crazy video. Tonight,